about Europe? I mean, certainly the European markets have been benefiting from diversification away from the United States. Do you think that that is something that will continue?
Yes. Well, I would say that Europe is obviously looking very much rosier in contrast with the U.S. when it comes to currency markets, when it comes to fixed income, and of course equities, and then some of these conversions of fixed income to equity in the corporate space as well. One piece of this that I would call out that is probably a shorter to medium term phenomenon is the re-defensification of Europe play. So if we think about strictly the sort of the guns part of a guns and butter fiscal stimulus package, for example, it's coming out of Germany. What's interesting to note is if you look at military spending as a percentage of GDP, it peaks in response to events and then it troughs. It eventually comes down. And so something that I would say is if we think about military spending as a percentage of GDP in Europe, you're likely to see a short to medium term uplift, but not necessarily a longer term play. And of course, you could potentially see some sort of cessation of conflict with Russia and Ukraine, which would underscore that denouement.
Do you think that the defence theme, which has been, a popular one in light of, the geopolitical angle that you just mentioned, and also the ramping up of defence spending in Europe, do you think that's a short-term play, or do you think that's still got some legs?
No, I think that's a shorter to medium term. I would say a 3 to 5 year horizon. But what's also interesting here is, Mandy, is just the components of infrastructure surrounding the defense play. And so, again, everyone talks about the infrastructure being chronically underinvested in Germany. And this removal of the debt brake, I think, will deploy creative capital to elements of infrastructure that may support defense, but may not be exactly aligned with, again, guns and tanks. So that's certainly where I would be placing money. I would also be thinking about the housing sector. House prices have retreated from their record highs in Germany, but this is something that's also been an acute focus by different governments. The French government has had successful policies here, so I would also be thinking about the residential sector writ large across the Eurozone.